Hi and welcome to another narration, presented by yours truly, Cryptid's Roost. Please be so kind as to throw punch the like button and smack the arse of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap that notification bell and then select all. That way you will receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. I would like to reach out and say a huge thank you to those of you who have been supporting Cryptid's Roosts financially. We pray the good Lord replenishes you abundantly, and to those of you who will, later on. We pray the good Lord bless you as you do so, and also a huge thank you to everyone for always supporting the channel with your likes, comments and shares as well. It is all very much appreciated. God bless you all. We have just passed the 500 subscribers mark, so the competition is currently running for the next few days. So don't forget to add your comment if you would like to enter hashtag cryptidsroost within the competition video, and come next Monday night we will make the draw to see who wins. Details on this will be available on that video. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show, and don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. In the span of 20 years I died twice. Part 4. City of Glass. 1 of 2. This awesome series is written by TheShadyPear, a wonderful author over on Reddit. If you would like to read more of their works, the Reddit link to their profile will be below in the description. What I'll tell you now will sound like a stupidity long rambling, and maybe it is. But it'll also be important so you can understand most of the next place I'll describe. Hell is monochrome. That's the conclusion I'd reached after a while here, and I can't help but think whoever created those landscapes pulled the saturation bar way too low and used the wrong filter. Pale is the first thing that comes to mind for me to describe almost anything. Pale, faded and wrong. And everything that isn't a human or some terrible attempt of plant is stuck in the same black and white scale with varying swatches of grey in between. Lucy kept walking a couple of steps ahead of me, and she almost blended in with the scenery. What this said about her I didn't know. The following trip was long, twisting and turning through the streets, and I was in a daze for most of it. My thoughts seemed to flicker on and off, with a double line of raiders forming at my back, just barely keeping my mind awake enough to stay on course. But I distinctly remember when the stone paving of this was switched for dark soil, then sand beneath my feet, and the mist receded enough to catch my first glimpse of the sky. Cold white lightning and empty space devoid of grace or warmth. Lucy, once in a while, glanced over her shoulder to see if I was still there, but she walked like she knew where she was going. I just followed, shrunk in her shadow. A limp in my steps made me faintly aware that my feet hurt, but I didn't care. "You okay there, champ?" I didn't respond. Ash's tone was awkward when he spoke, a little forced. The voice of an old man trying to relate to someone younger and failing, and that might as well be the case. With the way they grabbed and dragged me around and then remained at my back the whole time, I didn't really see much of the two walking behind me, but I knew the man with the awkward tone was Ash, and the woman with parched speech was Rhiannon. I didn't know why I knew their names. When did I hear them? "Boss, I think the new champ's gonna faint. We're past the first dune and the mist's thinned, yeah? Slow down with him, we can skip ahead just fine." "Yes, that's alright, go." In my mind, I could register the raiders breaking from their lines, detouring in a short circle around us and then taking a tighter phalanx formation and darting forward as soon as they stepped past their guide. She'd shifted to hold the baby with one arm to point directions with her free hand, but I couldn't bring myself to react to it either. I didn't know when, but I think I dropped my bottle since it wasn't in my hand anymore. Things felt slow, walking through seemingly endless plains and winding around dunes. Nothing but fog and dust around us. "Lex! Alex! Are you listening? Someone was saying something. Lucy. You need water, she stated, after looming a tad too close and staring for a second too long. Your lips are parched. When did you last drink anything? Yesterday almost left my mouth. But then I looked back in the direction Diz had been and at the sun above, frozen in the sky for who knows how long. And I realised I didn't know. So instead, I shrugged. She sighed and passed me a water bottle from her own bag. Water did help clear my head after I drank half the bottle in a couple of gulps. Dehydration can be one hell of a drug sometimes, but I still didn't get what was up with her, or her group, or where they'd been taking me. There was no one but me and her there. Well, me and her and the baby. I could make a sprint for it, my pained feet be damned, and escape, but we were in the middle of Gehenna still. I had no supplies and didn't know which way to go, so I followed her. I'm an idiot, I know, and a coward, but courage won't keep you alive here. Why waste it? I asked, gulping down the rest of the water anyway, if you're going to kill me. Kill you? You saying you won't? It's not my current plans, no. We kept walking, but she was looking over her shoulder more often now. When I was done with the water, she took the bottle back and placed it in her bag. Would you rather had stayed in Dis? Just thinking of the city we left, my obvious answer was no. If my first place of birth had been Dis, I might have ventured into Gehenna by now, even without a map, to either find a path out of luck or let the wastes claim me and end it all. But I was also thinking of how to go back to before. There's no place in this hellscape that's nice, but I got used to sticks. At least enough that I could exist there without much second guessing. There was some semblance of order and routine. This feeling that you could get out if you wanted to. You could see other places if you had a guide, and Styx's guide was, well, okay, not decent, but Donovan loves Styx. As much as anyone can love in hell anyway. He's still a psycho, don't get me wrong. A dark lumbering mountain looming over everyone and twisting their necks if they look at him wrong. But he always came back, no matter how often he headed out to the city, even when he went alone. I know I wouldn't return anywhere if I could go alone and live. And everyone knows it's not because he was getting lost in the tunnels, since he always came back bringing stuff we didn't have. Sometimes it was things for the city instead of himself too. Bundles of clothes and crates of tools. Once he brought a bag of seeds. We tried planting them but couldn't get any to grow in that lightless hellhole. The seeds ended up being distributed and eaten. There was a chance they could have been grown in Dis instead, but that's not my territory, I clearly remember him saying. Donovan didn't want us taking him there. His love for Styx ended at Dis's doorstep. I'll admit, we made life in Dis harder than it'd be otherwise. There isn't anything like a craft house or stores to repair or buy things from. So for a long time the common sense was, if you needed anything you just went up the tunnels to the city above and helped yourself. After decades, maybe centuries of scavenging, we've stripped Dis bare to the point most of their buildings are empty shells with no furniture, and afterwards we closed the passages so they couldn't come down to us. So maybe I deserved this. It's in Dis the raiders dwell, or that's what I always thought, and what everyone else in Styx believed. If not, then where else? We're here, I heard Lucy saying. The ground had been dark sand and pale ashes for a while now, forming a rippling pattern alike to water in a pool. But the sight ahead almost blinded me, literally. The glint of reflected sunlight made me hiss and squint, and it took a while for my eyes to adjust. From afar it looked like a giant lake, but it was something between a fortress and a city sitting atop a large expanse of glass. Long narrow roads paved in black bricks led to its entrance, twisting and swaying atop the strangely smooth ground. Lucy didn't wait for my reaction, and once I raised my head I realised she was talking to someone other than me. Everything other than the brick was a blur of white, cold light. I couldn't see them well, or see anything. The moment I took the first step onto the brick road, all the Gehenna had taken from me came flooding back. A jolt of pain crept up my body, and I didn't even have time to gasp before my legs gave in and my world faded to black. I had nowhere else to go. Don't forget, if you enjoyed that story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they really would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap the notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Oh, and don't forget to share the video far and wide. This will all help with YouTube's algorithm and will help to promote this channel more. And don't forget to check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and also in the video thumbnail. And if you would like an honourable mention, send in a snapshot of yourself with your purchase and I'll feature it in one of the videos. I now have my very own subreddit community where you can submit any stories you've written. You can submit your stories or encounters either there or send them to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. All the links are below. I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit, and you'll also find me on Discord. If you would like to support this channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. Again, that will also be below. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.